Okay, now Summary Offences Act, I'll show a bit of the interpretation where it shows you the definition of assault, public place, just for those that aren't certain. And then if you scroll through, you'll see section 9 is common assault. Every person is liable to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months or a fine not exceeding $4,000 who assaults any other person. And
Don't touch me.
yeah, that's assault. You'll notice section 4, offensive behaviour or language. I think getting up into our faces. See, he claimed, because I said to Aaron, or one of the officers at the time, I'm not too sure, that he had grabbed my camera, which is an extension of my arm. It's assault. He was stopping me from my purpose for being there, which I also said was to document the event that was going on. So yeah, that's assault. You know, trying to walk through me and the van because he's having trouble crossing the road a couple of times. That's also assault. And getting up in my face and blowing smoke in my face, to me, that's infecting me with the disease because I've been sick all week from it. So, by sick I mean sinus, head cold, sore throat, coughing up lots, you know, it's horrible. You know, so I'm not going to read through them all, but what I will do is I'll post up these pages and you guys can pause them at your leisure and read them as much as you like. I'll try and put them in landscape mode so they're easier to read for you. But Summary Offences Act 1981, Section 4 is offensive behaviour or language. Section 3 is disorderly behaviour. Every person is liable to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 months or a fine not exceeding $2,000 who, in or within view of any public place, behaves or incites or encourages any person to behave in a riotous, offensive, threatening, insulting or disorderly manner that is likely in the circumstances to cause violence against persons or property to start or continue, which is exactly what happened. So he's guilty of that too. And we simply did 57, well, Steve simply spoke for 57 seconds before he gets attacked. We sat there peacefully and watched them over an hour bleating on. But yeah, I wasn't going to bore everybody by showing you the whole lot. So the yellow timer at the bottom starts off, I think, about 27 or something. And yeah, it shows you. Section 11 of the Summary Offences Act is willful damage. Okay, liable to a term of 3 months or $2,000 fine who intentionally damages any property. Summary Offences Act 1981, Section 21 is intimidation. Every person commits an offence who, with intent to frighten or intimidate any other person, or knowing that his or her conduct is likely to cause that other person reasonably to be frightened or intimidated, A, threatens to injure that other person or any member of his or her family, or damages any of that person's property, follows that other person, hides any property owned or used by that other person. One of them had the end of the microphone after they snapped it off and took off. Watches or loiters, no, that's not so much. Stops, confronts or accosts that other person in a public place, that's a definite. So that's section 21A, C, E, and section 2, every person commits an offence who forcibly hinders or prevents any person from working at or exercising any lawful trade, business or occupation. My occupation was there as I was an investigative journalist. I was recording for my YouTube channel, as I have done for many years, in public. Oh, and to this little whippersnapper, who seems to think I need permission or consent from people to record in a public place.
Oh, I can take public photos, mate. I've been doing it for 8 years. Consent is not required, buddy.
Do you want me to show you the law? I can show you the law.
Go right ahead. What law, what section of what act?
Here's Sergeant Scott Dixon from Manukau Police Station.
Dave, I know that.
Yep.
I heard her talking to him, so it's all good.
Yep. So Dave's a bit of a panic merchant.
Oh, that's all right.
So our concern is, and you're entirely correct, and you are free to go, so you don't have to stand here and listen to me.
I don't mind listening.
Is
All good for the channel.
Yeah, you're in a public place, and you're quite entitled to take photographs of anything while in your public place, just like we are as well. Our concern
There's
is...
heaps of them everywhere.
Oh, I know, they're all over the place, right?
Now, although he might appear nice and you know, face to face, what he writes, you know, in the background behind your back, such as notes made at the time of the incident, like back then in late August 2019, when I was unlawfully detained for using a camera outside the police station. But yeah, the IPCA was upheld there, and I was told what I needed to be told and got the footage, so well done. At least they're taking it as a learning curve. But yeah, he even wrote on the back of the notes made at the time that it says, Mr. Keane tries to make New Zealand police or the officers appear unintelligent and unprofessional. You know, they don't need my help with that one. And it also says, due to my basic knowledge of the law, Mr. Keane should only be spoken to someone that's senior sergeant rank or higher. The reason for that is because only sergeants or senior sergeants or higher are actually starting to learn advanced legislation or even basic legislation. So they have the comprehension. Normal constables have none. Just the bare basics, and it appears they can't even do that right. Because, you know, I'm still annoyed. You call for service, you don't get it. And Jazz Conda, a user that's on, well, I don't know if he's a sub or not, don't really care, but he likes to say that, you know, if I didn't appear such a know-it-all, then they might take me seriously. Since when is having a bit of knowledge a reason to not take someone as seriously as another one? Especially when they claim to have footage of the entire event. There's multiple witnesses that can back the story. If they'd done their job properly and taken all of this information down, they may have known that. But instead they allowed the offenders to stay there and continue drinking, while we were given an order to disperse to prevent a breach of the peace, which is cops blaming for off or we're going to arrest you. Okay? No, you saw the pitiful excuse for them to go and investigate the broken property, even though we were holding the broken property, and again multiple witnesses there to show it. If they'd exercised their reasonable belief, they could have searched those muppets that we were identifying to see if they still had the property on them. Okay? Otherwise, they're also conspiring to defeat justice and stashed it amongst themselves, as we all know could possibly happen. Only alleging. Alright? So, Section 24 of the Summary Offences Act, false allegation or report to police. Every person is liable to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 months or a fine of $2,000 who, A, contrary to the fact, without a belief in the truth of the statement, makes or causes to be made to any police employee any written or verbal statement alleging that an offence has been committed, such as shoulder barging a politician, which is assault. And that was made, according to Aaron, who came and told us this. Yeah, moving on. Disturbing meetings. Well, we were there, they disturbed us. We didn't approach them, they approached us. Every person is liable to a fine not exceeding $200 who in any public place unreasonably disrupts any meeting, congregation or audience. Well, yes, they were in the Black Salt Cafe. That's a private premises, and what they were doing was visible and audible from the public in a public place. In a public place from where we were, so we had every right to stand there and listen. And we had every right to protest there if we chose to. or exercise our freedom of speech, which the old guy, don't you know?
What part of human rights don't you understand? What part of human rights don't you understand? What part of human rights don't you understand?
Don't you know your human rights? Oh my fucking God, and you're invading our privacy.
Every right Aussie here.
You're invading our privacy.
Every right Aussie here.
You're invading our privacy.
Every right Aussie here.
You're invading our privacy.
You can hear him in the background going wanker, wanker continually as well.
I'm not touching you. What the fuck are you doing? I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. What the fuck are you doing? I'm not touching you. What the fuck are you doing?
Real nice guy. I was using New Zealand Bill of Rights Act 1990, Section 14, which gives me the right and freedom to seek, receive and impart information and opinions of any kind in any form. But just for Jazz Conda's sake, I don't want to appear like a know-it-all. You see, unlike most people that probably just drink all weekend to get over their 9-to-5 lives and shit, I've actually decided to use my brain, use the internet and learn. And what better way to learn than to go to court challenging small little things like a speeding ticket or a parking ticket, because you're still learning the law and you're still actually getting dragged through the criminal procedures, because both are category 1 criminal offences. So yeah, you really got to think about those, don't you? Summary Offences Act 1981, arrest 39, and we'll go to section 3. Any person on or in any property of which the occupier or owner finds committing an offence. So that's really offence against any of the provisions of sections 9, which was the common assault, 11, which was the willful damage, 29, I don't think I've seen, 30, I didn't bother looking at that one either, is justified in arresting that other person without warrant, but if he does so, he shall as soon as practical call a constable to his aid and deliver the arrested person into the constable's custody. Which is why I said to them, I'll go and arrest them and deliver them to one of your custody if you want to take them. Then we've got the old jumping into the Crimes Act.